my fellow readers, Dark Symphony 777 with another pair of fanfiction reviews. As always, a link to the stories will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts on the story, and finally, listen, my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. So, the stories I am doing a review on is the Touhou project, but they all have that word instead. And also Crisis on Two Equestrians. The reason I'm doing both of these stories, technically, I'm not just doing just this story. I'm technically covering the entire stories, which are like, I think like, hold on. I think it's like 10 or something. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 12 stories. And the reason I'm covering all these with this is because there's not really a lot to talk about with these stories. So I figured I could just lump them together and I won't have to worry about that. So, what is the plot of these stories? What plot? Yeah, that's exactly why I'm lumping them together. What plot? So, this one's gonna need some explanation. Touhou notoriously does not have lots of plot, like an actual deep plot for its games. A lot of the deep, like the more intricate and deep plots, they usually tend to be fan-made. They usually tend to be like from fan projects or from the fanimes or fan games. Basically anything that's not official. The closest thing I think we got to like a complicated plot in the Touhou like the actual canon Touhou projects are the Hifu Club stories that are only found in like CD, like Korean CDs, I think, Japanese CDs, I believe. And that's actually a really intricate plot, but that's really it. Even the mangas, which are meant to be more fleshed out, they don't really get that deep. I think with the exceptions of Foul Detective Satori, which is the one I think is actually just about to finish up, and the one that introduces Kasen, which was I can't remember what the name of that manga is, but those I think are like the only ones that are actually complicated. The rest of them, like Silent Silver Blue and Lotus Eaters, they're not really that deep or intricate in terms of plot. And a lot of the issues that at least I have with Touhou from a storytelling perspective comes from the main games. So, for instance, with Touhou 6, what is the actual plot of Touhou 6? So, the plot of Touhou 6, more or less, is just a scarlet mist shows up around in Gensokyo for no reason, and Rinbu just goes to investigate and just solve it. That's it. That's the plot. That's literally the plot of Embodiment of Scarlet Devil. In a nutshell. Like, if you could bear... she does end up at the Scarlet Devil Mansion and has to deal with, like, Sakuya and Remilia, and there's also Flan and all that. But at its core, if you're like, okay, how do you describe the plot? It's basically just Mist shows up, Shrine Maiden gets pissed, investigates, and solves it. That's it. This lewd retelling of Touhou 6 is literally the same plot, just with the added benefit that the mist makes everyone horny. That is quite literally it. With each each chapter more or less is just a reference to like the stages, like stage one, and also the erotica is referring to like the boss of that stage. So like stage one is Rumia. Yes, I want Rimu to have relations with a character like this. I don't even know how old she is. I swear to God, I don't know how old she is, and I swear to God, I wasn't 100% sure Rimu was packing down there between her legs. But that's more or less like the whole point of these stories. Is just this guy just wants to do like I'm going to write a sex scene involving every single Touhou character at least once, because a lot of the time Touhou characters are really only like one and done characters. It's very rare in the mainline games that character is actually going to appear more than once as like a boss. Especially in like different games. I think like the only exceptions when we're talking about like the main bullet hell titles are just relegated to Kogasa Tatara and no Cerno, Kogasa Tatara, and Yugiko Saiguchi. And Kogasa and Yugiko are literally their other boss fights are just in the same game. Kogasa just happens to be the midpoint boss of the stage where you fight Yugiko. Sorry, I was actually thirsty. Um, but that's literally it. Uh, it's so you get like you get a really weird situation where the author clearly knows what like the core idea of what he wants his story to be. And it's just every single Touhou character gets the segs. You get the segs. You get the segs. Cerno gets the segs. Mei Ling, best girl, gets the segs. Oh my god. It's such a weird idea. And here's the thing. The sex scenes are actually the worst part of the story. The sex scenes are not that good. They're just not really that good. They are just way too short. Like I can like look okay. Just for like to prove my point, I'm literally just gonna just scroll and highlight how long the segs between Rimu and Rumia is. Uh, let's see, right here. And yeah, that's this is it. At best, if you want to say like, oh, it's like at best 3 paragraphs. That's if you do like the bare minimum of like a paragraph is like I know like a paragraph is like considered 5 sentences. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1 paragraph. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, probably like a little bit more, but it's still like really, really short. And this is literally like a running gag with like all the other fan fiction, like all of the sex scenes. They're just such a minor part of the story that these stories tend to be like more like I more like the story for like the humorous moments rather than the actual segs. And honestly, okay, so here's the thing. This is this is like the author's first fan fiction. First off, the author has some fucking balls to say, my first fan fiction, Touhou sex. Jin writes itself. Uh, the author just has some guts doing that. Even if the erotica is so much. That's why the author doesn't say porn penalties. It says lewd retellings because it's like not everything is like it's like a more adult take and like everyone's just kind of like naturally horny. So like for the three stories, there's this one, there's Cherry Blossom, which the plot of that is just Yu Yu Ko, otherwise known as Kirby with boobs, uh, basically just steals spring so she can put all the springs into a gigantic demonic cherry blossom tree because she realizes, hey, there's a dead body in there. I want to know who that body belongs to. But in order to do that, I need to take all this spring and push it somewhere else. I had to do this, SpongeBob. I had to do it. Spoiler alert, it's actually her body. It's like because Yugo doesn't actually realize that her body is actually in the tree. It's actually kind of like a dark thing. Like Yugo's like kind of very a tragic character because the whole thing is she found out she actually has the ability to just kill anyone. She's just a walking, talking Death Note. If she gets pointed at someone, it's like I kill you, and they just instantly die. But she was such a sweetheart that like she just could not go through with it, and so she ended up like going under the demonic cherry tree, killing herself. Yukari uses her body to like seal the tree because it's killing a bunch of people. So it's like okay, she has the ability to like evoke the dead. We just use her body to act like a seal to make sure the tree just doesn't wake up and start killing tons of people again. And her ghost basically is like in charge of everything, but like Yu Yu doesn't remember that it was her body and stuff like that. And honestly, it's this story that kind of gives you a better feel for what the author's trying to do. It's like okay, it's like not really fully lewd. It's more like a mixture of lewd and segs, and also like memes. Because the author really likes doing like more comedic moments and just completely just ran his bullshit. Like if we go right here, okay, yeah, right here. Go here. Like they do the whole thing with Yukari. Yukari is just an ultra horny, like 17-year-old, 17 in quotation marks, because Yukari is 17, no exceptions. Even though she's probably not 17, but if she tells you she's 17, you listen. Otherwise, she'll send a train after you. And she's like, you don't want this milfy body? No. All right, and just kicks Rimu right between the legs. It's like, oh, you don't like that? Oh, and even like some of the sexy stuff is more funny. Like before she fights Yukari, she fights Ran, and like Ran's like, "Oh, you want to feel these tickle bitties?" It's like, "Okay, lift up my dress." It's like, yes. I get to look at the fox mommy's bare chest. She lifts up the dress, and underneath the dress, like physically holding her like boobs and stuff, is like Chen, which is like this like cat yokai who's like technically acts like a dollar to Rand, and she's like just attached. Like as soon as she pulls up dress, you're like, and just latches onto Rimu's face like a face hugger. It's actually a pretty funny image. And then Rand just rubs in it by like pretending like, "There's my daughter, mommy, let's have sex with her." Like, but you gotta have some funny time, some sexy time with your mom too. It's like, and he was like, "Stop it!" And she's like, just completely done with it. And of course, we got the last story, Immaterial Missing Power, otherwise known as the game that gives us Japanese Goblin. And it's basically like Suika's like, I'm doing a demo man impression. Why you sound like an angry black Scottish? It's like, you silent shrine maiden! I've seen you having sex with all these girls, but you didn't have sex with me! So I turned into mist and make you all horny! We are going to fight like men, and then, after that, we're going to do it! And you're going to do it with me, and me, and me, and me! It's like, wait a minute, what, did you split yourself into 10? I did! Get ready for a god of time! Honest! I'm sorry. It's hard to talk about, like, the actual plot, because again, these stories have no plot! And that's not even on the author's fault. That's more on Zun's fault, because, like, I don't care about plot. You want plot? Make your own plot! And that's basically Touhou's, like, what Touhou's known for. Make your own plot. You want to make it sexy? Go right ahead. Same thing with characters. There's like, it's just barely anything. Yes, there are some like unique characters, like, but they're mainly just caricatures. Like Rimu just does nothing except talk about like connect every single conversation she's in to like how poor I am. It's like, can you just stop bringing anything up besides how poor? It's like, all right, I'm gonna get the stick. I'm back, yeah. Unless you're like Yukari, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get my Goe and switch it right up to Snatch. Okay. And what about you, drunk? I'm gonna keep yelling. I don't know why, but just picturing Suika and just picturing this character, and she opens her mouth, and you just hear the Scottish voice of the Devil Man from Team Fortress 2. It was me. I did it like this. Oh my God, damn it. Anyway, back to the story. Besides Rimu just acting like she's perpetually poor, you have Yukari, who's like a thirsty cougar. She's like, I will have sex with the Shrine Maiden. But isn't she like too young? We're yokai. Everyone is too young to us. Okay, get a point there. You have Marissa, who's like, okay, she's fine. And then you have Rumelia, who's like the funniest character, because literally she keeps trying to find a way to reference JoJo. I should you not. She's like half the characters like walking, talking, like meme references. Like, going back. Gotta go. Yes, fucking morbid. Okay, so I gotta actually show this. Where is it? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, right here. Where Sokyo doesn't need a savior such as you. And then die yokai, you don't belong. And then what's up? All this is just a reference to. Of course, this is just a big it's just a reference to the famous "What Is a Man" talk from Symphony of Night. The only which honestly is a great reference, because like, okay, But then after that, every time when like the SDM are like referenced, it's always like in terms of JoJo, like like yeah, this story at like where is it? Where is it? Right here. I think it's like I know it's here. Let's see. Right here, where it's like they're doing the extra stage for Touhou 7. Rimu's asking like all the other people who are like at the shrine, which is Marissa, Sakuya, and Yomu. It's like, hey, can you help me like come with me and do so we can handle this? Marissa's like, no, I can't do it. Why is that? I gotta do this thing at four with Alice. She's trying to take over the world. Don't you have something to be? Don't you have to do something somewhere else? No, I'll do it for. Yomu's like a gardener, and it's like she's and she's specifically under orders from Yuyuko to not get involved. She's like, I'm not like, I got nothing. And then Sakuya's like, no. It's like, I got to read a story to Flandre. It's like, what story? JoJo's Bizarre Adventures! I don't even know. And like even before that, we get like a fucking YouTube poop reference. Where is it? It's actually here too, right here. Gee, it sure is spooky around here. But Rimu isn't as visible with all true might and straightforward. Because you can't have Marissa be the king. It has to be Yuko because big boobs. it's like that's my honest opinion on these stories. It's like it's at its best when it's like trying to be like either like referential to like memes and jokes, and also and even like sometimes lewd, but it just it kind of stinks with like the actual sex because the sex is just there, and that's kind of I guess I don't know. It's good and bad because okay, on one hand, the sex scenes are short, so you could easily just skip it, and it really doesn't add a lot to the story because it just simply because of the fact the actual sex is just so skippable. So there's that. Pacing wise, I think the pacing is actually fine across these 30 stories, and I'm guessing across the rest of the stories too. Like the whole idea of like each chapter just being just a stage and kind of just going through the stage as quickly as you can influences like the length of the story. Like, of course, harder bosses are going to be longer because you want to try and add stuff to it. So I think it's fine enough, especially since each stage is supposed to be progressively harder. So it makes sense for each stage to be like progressively longer. Like if we look right here, okay, it's much shorter. Okay, maybe not all shorter. All right, honestly, basically, each chapter is like, how much can the author milk out of it? I try to be fair and try and do like a supernatural thing, but no, I got caught up by the cat. Grammar wise, honestly, I didn't really see any grammar errors except for I think it was this story. There was one single grammar error. It was what chapter was it? I think it's this. No, I think it's this one, right? Yeah. It takes place here, and if I remember right, no wait, it was the previous chapter. It's this chapter. It's the one with Yomu, and I think I know it was this story. I just can't remember. The specific chapter. But the author inadvertently calls one character's name by another character's name, and he kind of just kind of awkward. But that's really it. So yeah, that is these 3 stories. Now let's move on to Crisis on to Equestria. So this is the second official Lunaverse story. I am going to do another short story next for this. Let me get rid of these tags at the top. You can't see it, but it's bothering me. So this is something of a weird story, at least in the concept of the Lunaverse. For those who don't know what the Lunaverse is, the Lunaverse is basically a what if scenario where instead of Celestia getting sent to the Luna going mad and getting sent to the moon, it's Celestia who gets sent to the sun, and now we have like this whole timey-wimey. I know I mentioned this in like my previous Lunaverse story, which was the one with Cadence, but this one's kind of important because the plot of this story is that the Lunaverse version of Trixie, so like this version of Trixie, she's kind of she's literally in the middle of a storm. And she tries to do a teleport spell to kind of get home because she just kind of got stuck in the storm. As she's doing the spell, she gets struck by lightning, and that completely fucks up the teleportation and causes her to end up in the canon My Little Pony universe. And that's actually really cool, like crossing over a popular AU with the canonverse in such a way that kind of shows you how everything kind of flows together. I think, hey, that's actually really neat. And so the plot of this story basically starts from there. Trixie overchanneled herself. She gets taken in by Applejack. She wakes up. She immediately, she's not really, she's kind of suspicious at first, mainly because Applejack's kind of acting off. Because, of course, in the Lunaverse, Applejack's like a very, very selfish bitch. It's true. And so, after a bit, Trixie's like, okay, I'm going to get out because she realizes, hey, Applejack is fucking lying. Especially when she looks out the window and she realizes it's snowing. It's like, Applejack? Yeah. Why is it snowing? It's like, well, that's because it was summer where I was at. It's July. They must have messed up the weather. Uh-huh. So, Trixie, promptly suspicious now, gets away from Applejack, finds out that she becomes convinced when she sees the canon Twilight Sparkle that, Twilight Sparkle did something to completely brainwash the entire city. Because in the Twilight in the Lunaverse is actually a wanted criminal because of the events of this story, which is basically stupid small screen. Which is basically a reverse situation of Ghostbusters, where it's just Twilight and Trixie's roles are reversed, and Twilight deliberately destroys Ponyville because she was convinced that Trixie is a phony. And then she sees Celestia because Celestia's in Ponyville because Twilight asked if they could study the elements and try to figure out how they tick and stuff like that. Trixie goes, oh, it's not Twilight doing all this. It's Corona. And takes the elements, skedaddles, finds basically the canon versions of the Lunaverse elements, which are Raindrops, Ditsy Doo, Carrot Top, Cheerilee, and I'm Lyra Heartstrings. I don't know why I'm having a brain fart on Lyra Heartstrings. She does like a memory thing. She kind of fucks them up mentally because, again, Trixie doesn't realize she's in an alternate universe. So she's like, She believes she's like 100% in the right on this. She managed to get the elements of harmony. They set it all apart. They kind of get like the element of harmony fix everything and kind of over channels, like knocks out Trixie for a little bit. Then she finds out, oh, I'm in another reality because the Lunaverse Twilight is in that reality as well. Who deliberately crossed over because she's just trying to run away from her problems that she caused. So then, both the Twilight and the Trixie, and also the other Twilight and Trixie, because Canon Trixie is on a road, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna visit Ponyville to kind of beg everyone for forgiveness." This is like canonically after the events of the episode of in canon of where Trixie had the Alicorn amulet, so she kind of went mad with like power. They kind of think that Trixie and Trixie are like the same person, so she gets arrested, and she's like, "What the fuck did I do?" They find out the truth. Afterwards, the Lunaverse Luna actually breaches the barrier separating the worlds, brings the Lunaverse main six to them. Although, granted, the Lunaverse main six are like completely removed from the story; they're just cameos. And talks to Celeste. She's like, "Oh yeah, I came here while I was drunk, and that's what you thought, and that's why you saw me 1,000 years ago." Because apparently, the reason why Celestia didn't like completely freak out on Trixie when she finds out the whole multiple dimensions, like, oh, that's why. Because she remembered like 1,000 years ago, she thought she saw Nightmare Moon outside the moon. The Luna called her Corona and just ran away. Then the Twilights and the Trixies, they start fighting over the element of magic. And it breaks out into the Everfree Forest when it becomes a living, breathing pony or alicorn. And that's an antithesis, or how she was originally going to call herself, Twixie, because got to have a shipping reference in there. Her whole purpose is she just wanted to kill Twilight and Trixie, so that way she can just kind of do her own thing. And so basically the Twilights and the Trixies, Celestia and Luna kind of shove them off to the Everfree Forest because they realize, okay, so more than likely what happened was they broke because they're not friends with each other. That makes a lot of sense. You want to go visit Discord? Let's visit Discord. and we got like two small plots where it's just the Twilights and Trixie trying to figure out how to get along, as well as like a little humorous side thing involving Celestia and both Lunas kind of running each other and also comparing and contrasting the Lunaverse to the Canonverse. I think it's really clever. Like, there's a part where like Luna goes to the castle because they're worried that this whole thing will actually unleash Discord, and they get to the garden, and Luna completely like, why is he in the garden? It's like, well, no one's going to break him out. Like, the last time he broke out, he was only out for like a couple hours, and it was mainly because of an accident. But you put him in your garden. Yeah, I mean, no one's going to deliberately open him. Like, no one's going to go out of their way to do it. Why? What do you do with him? I have him buried 6 feet up. I have him buried several yards under, surrounded by a block of cement with 8 layers of enchantment. Because I am not taking fucking chances on this. Why, you think someone is going to go out of their way to do it? Yes! Because in fact, season 2, this story bridges into season 2. Like, so this takes place between the next main Lunaverse story I'm going to go read, which is Return to Tambalon, and like the second story, this takes place between those two, and I think Exam Jitters, this takes place between those two. So, and this story kind of is like the start of building up the Discord of the Lunaverse, especially since as you go along, they like very heavily imply that there are people who are deliberately trying to find Discord and unleash them onto the world because it's like a cult thing. So it makes a lot of sense, especially since as the season goes along, they're building up Discord more and more, despite the fact they probably don't plan on finishing the season at all. Sorry, calling it as it is. They ain't finishing it. They're not getting to Discord. I do think plot wise, especially as the story goes along with the Twilights and the Trixies, they're slowly getting along, and they have to fight this living, breathing corruption of the Elemental Harmony, who basically just wants to kill everyone because that's all she knows. Like that's basically like how she lives as a concept. Because it's like, oh, she's hate and she's rage and like destruction and darkness. Like she's a living, breathing that because that's all she knows conceptually inside of her head. And they eventually have to beat her by overloading her body with like pure magic because she doesn't actually create her own magic. She opens like tears in like reality, and like the magic kind of interacts that way. She even like gets curb stomped by Celestia and Luna once they realize, oh, you're just a one trick pony. Okay, let's kick your ass. And she basically just outsmarts them for a little bit and sends them to the moon and the sun with Celestia. I think, and the plot actually ends with them winning, and the element of magic basically saying, okay, there's two Twilights to two Trixies. One of you have to pick who gets me. Well, which one of you each gets me? And also the Lunaverse Twilight eventually decided, I'm going to turn myself in. I'm tired. This taught me like I'm tired of running and like all my actions catching up to me. I'm just gonna turn myself in, which is why this story is kind of required to read past a certain point, because in season 2, Twilight is going to be the Lunaverse version of Twilight is going to be like more and more involved, because she's actually going to start living in Ponyville at the library, because she's going to be under like house arrest, so she can't really get involved, but she's going to get more involved as the stories go along, especially like stories that take place in Ponyville, because they kind of have to teach her the magic. Trixie has to teach that version of Twilight that friendship is magic. Ta-da! And that's more or less the plot. Character-wise, I do like what the author did with at least both like the Trixies and Twilights, because they try and they showcase you like how much they are the same and how much they're different. Like with like they even reference at the end. What's the name of that quote? Yeah, they reference this quote by Bruce Lee. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Referencing to how the canon Twilight and the Lunaverse Trixie apply their magic, because Twilight is technically the 10,000 kicks once pony, but Trixie is like the one kick 10,000 times pony because of how they learn magic. Trixie learns by doing and knowing how to uniquely apply her limited arsenal to like everything, because she's not really that powerful pony. So she basically like uses her skill like slide a hoof and double play and all that in order to make the most out of what her magic is. So she's much more flexible. While Twilight is just pure power, and she just overpowered someone with magic, and so she can just brute force learn anything. And most of the time, she just likes to learn. Meanwhile, Trixie likes to only use magic that she can actually apply either in her like daily life or her magic show. So this one plays into that. Same thing with like the Twilights as well as the Trixies, because the Trixies are like very samey, but at the same time different. Same thing with the Twilights, like they caught like Lunaverse Twilight constantly calls out like canon Twilight. It's like, oh, I thought you were smart. I thought you were wise, and then I found out about the one and needed spell. It's like, but didn't you like brainwash a gigantic space animal to destroy a town? Nothing. And like the Trixies, they're basically the same. Like they're but also different. Like Lunaverse Trixie is a drunk. She's like on one skill bourbon. It's like, hey, did you take my bourbon? Shut up! I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this sober. No, no, no. Meanwhile, Canon Trixie is like a more basically Trixie if like she went on like if she didn't have anyone to humble her and, and not teach her like delusion like like give her an ego. Granted, both Trixies have an ego, so it's not the best comparison. But basically, Lunaverse Trixie is more humble than Canon Trixie because Lunaverse has like an actual title. It's like I am Dame Madam Trixie. All right, all right. And it even extends to like Celestia and Luna and how they re, how they ran their countries. Like Celestia was very monarch like in like how she run things. Like trying to like be hands off and trying like having to have everything run by her and more or less. Meanwhile, Luna is very hands on and tries to run everything like more like a democracy and has like a subset like government agencies stuff like that. And even she's like realizing it's kind of too much. And then you have Antithesis, who's like she's meant to be a parody of the whole stereotypical Alicorn or OC. I think she's fine. She's very one dimensional, but I think in this case it's actually perfectly fine because one, she was literally born like in universe, like not that long, like she's not that old. At most, she's like only a couple hours old when she dies. And two, it kind of plays on the whole anti-magic, anti-friendship thing that she is like deliberately one-dimensional. So I think it actually works in her the character's favor because she's so single-minded, and you're not supposed to try and like redeem her. She's perfect. She's purposely written in the fact no matter how hard you try, you can't redeem her as like because that's her concept is that she's just anti-friendship and anti-magic and all that sort of deal. And I think it's fine. Pace-wise, I think the pacing is perfect. I think the grammar is well done. The sentence structure, everything about the story is overall a pretty solid story. Now, that says the question, would I recommend these stories? This one, I wouldn't, mainly because most people they're not gonna read erotic stories, especially the people who watch my videos. That's just kind of how it is. And if you want to read something goofy, because I think ultimately at the end of the day, this is just very goofy. This is less sexual and more goofy. You can go right ahead. But Crisis on Two Equestrians, I would 100% recommend. I think this is a really good story, and I have no problems with this story. Favorite parts with this, just the memes. Just the memes. I guess you could say probably the fight between Rimu and Suika, because I think that's actually not a bad written fight. And then it just kind of get thrown by the orgy between a bunch of mini Suikas and Rimu. And this story, probably how they... I'm almost tempted to do like Luna's little prank at the end because they do like this whole thing where Celestia's like gets sent to the sun and then like she's actually refusing to leave because like everyone she she figures like everyone's kind of freaking out. It's like, oh, Luna's going mad again. So she's like deliberately staying in the sun so Luna can do this whole thing where she summons Celestia back, like, hey, she's a hero. But Luna like turns it on her and like does like uses a magic signal. So like when she teleports, she also dyes Celestia's hair pink, and she's like, it's like, yeah, I'm so. Why is my hair pink? And like Luna's like, oh, that's a nice cloud there. Like, did you say something? and Celestia's like kind of just, all right, kind of walks into that one, and just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna magic. Hair's back to normal. But I don't think that's worth like my favorite part because it's just like it's funny. You know what? I don't really have a favorite part of this. I think overall it's just 100% solid. Anything I would do to change it with this? Nothing. However, there is something I would change for this. So let me actually show you something because I don't know if everyone knows this, but just like Fanfiction, you could actually, if you go to something like this, it actually shows a link to the song, and this is something I think the author does really well. It actually links to the story, so it's like, hey, I think like if you want to know about the Touhou soundtrack, this is probably like the best story. Like just go, like not even bother reading it, just go find any parts that have this and just go wild because Touhou soundtrack is like very well regarded. But that's not what I'm talking about. Where is it? Right here. I think a little extra detail, since the author went out of their way to like leave links to like all the musical soundtracks. I know for a fact, like if we go here, Spirit's like, because this is like go to the videos. Yeah. I think it just would be on really nice detail if he did the same thing for like the spell cards, like leave links to the spell each of the spell cards in so you can kind of see what they physically look like. Like for instance, okay, so let's see. Come on, where is it? Oh yeah, this is Rimu's boss fight from Imperishable Night. So yeah, let's like this, and you can like leave a link to the story, and you can like leave link to like a like what the spell card looks like. It'd be a neat idea to like showcase. Oh yeah, this is what the spell card looks like. You'd be like, hey, that's actually pretty cool. Especially since you would want to watch the spell card in action instead of just like, okay, that's fine. But I don't have. But other than that, I don't really have anything wrong besides that one. Also, one grammar error that I completely forgot where it was. Wow, I think that's it for these stories. I hope I will see you next time. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and cut.